podcast, Technipod. I'm Madeline, the sponsorship co-director for Technica.
I'm Helena, the experience co-director at Technica, and today we're joined with Cliff. Cliff, could you go on and introduce yourself, please?
Hi, I'm Cliff. I'm an instructor at the University of Maryland, obviously, in the CS department in particular.
How are you feeling today?
I'm feeling great. It's a Saturday. I gotta sleep in a little. That's good.
All right, well,
How
I
are you
guess.
feeling?
Asking us back. I'm feeling okay. How are you?
I'm feeling good. I got to hit snooze 3 times on my alarm.
Right.
It's been looking pretty green outside. So yeah, all good things.
Okay.
The sun is definitely shining.
Enjoying life.
Just about.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good,
And I
good.
guess we can just kick off our interview. So we can get right into it. So Cliff, where are you from, and how did you end up at the University of Maryland?
Yeah. So where am I from? I would say that I spent most of my childhood in the Philadelphia region of Pennsylvania, southern area, just below Philly. So Bucks County, PA, if you want to, I guess, look that place up. I don't know. But yeah, so southern Philly, and then I came to the University of Maryland for my undergraduate degree, and then I kind of never left. So here I am. But yeah.
What made you choose the University of Maryland?
Chose the University of Maryland mostly because it was, still East Coast, so from the area, relatively speaking. It has a very good CS program, and that's kind of what I wanted to major in, so I chose that. I don't know if I had like any other like thing that really called out to me, but now that I'm here, I enjoy it. I've obviously never left, so
Yeah.
What's the fastest you've ever gotten from home to the University of Maryland? What's your record?
home from where?
From Bucks County.
From Bucks County? I don't know. It's been a while since I've been there and back. I'd say probably like 2.5 hours.
Okay.
Excellent.
Not bad, not bad. Okay, so you kind of mentioned like being an instructor here and why you chose Maryland, but like, was there any kind of instructor that like influenced you or inspired you? Like, what's like something that you aim to be as an instructor?
Well, the funny thing is, I initially did not want to do teaching at all in any way, shape, or form. Mostly because both my parents are teachers. They're like elementary school teachers. Or if I was like a elementary school music teacher, my mother does like the piano teachers, and she'll go to like people's houses and teach the piano. I myself don't really know an instrument, so whatever. So initially I was like, my parents are very musically inclined, very creative. I'm not, and I was like, I'm going to just go in a completely different path. They were teachers, not to be a teacher. But now here I am. The reason I chose, I guess, to teach is I had a really good TA experience as an undergrad. I TA'd for 3 different classes throughout my undergrad period. During my graduate school, I TA'd for 1 class, and then I taught a STIC course, which is a student-taught instructional course. And then I kind of just stayed here after that, and they hired me.
So if you weren't an instructor, then what else could you possibly see yourself as?
I'd probably do the classic software engineering, like after you go to school, get a CS degree, go off and become a software engineer. But I think like looking back on it, and like even like doing my graduate year, I'm like maybe I should go back to school for like engineering or something, because I've always liked to build things. I used to tinker with hardware, some robotic stuff, so maybe something along those lines.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, I mean, since you started teaching at 23, what's it like being an instructor only a few years older than your own students?
Yeah, so first year, everything was kind of like, I have no idea what I'm doing. I was like, I don't think I was fully conscious during all that, right? So 23 was definitely tough. Because like there's students that are like 19 and you're 23, or even like 20. And then we still even have like students that are non-traditional, so they come back to school and then they're still older than me.
Yeah.
So I thought it was a little scary at first. Now I just don't think about it. It's like, I didn't see a reason to start worrying about it. Well, I didn't see a reason to keep worrying about it, so I kind of just stopped thinking about it. But I think initially there was definitely like a weird interactions that I've had with students, because they would like look at me and they're like, I don't see you as like a classic CS old professor who's like, that's what he's doing. And I'm like, yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. So like, what's some advice that you would give to students that are trying to get into tech or just trying to figure out where they belong in tech?
Yeah, I think if you're trying to get into tech in particular, it's a wide variety of what tech means.
Mm.
You can do a lot of things. And so I think if you go into, at least like the CS program here, right, there's typically a lot of pressure to stay in the CS program.
Yeah.
That's not necessarily true. You can still do tech and not be in CS, right? We have the iSchool, we have the immersive media design, right? I think we're opening a new AI sort of program soon or something. I'm not going to say that, but I'll say it. Transparency, it's probably okay.
What competitive needed?
Yeah, I'm sure it's fine. AI is big, and so of course it would make sense for us to have an AI program. There's now like data science and all that other stuff. So I think like just think about what part of tech you like, and then stick with that. And if you start to not like something, that's okay. You don't have to stick with something just because you feel like you've done it a lot. Right? So I'd say like to get into tech, just keep that in mind. To stay in tech, I think it's like, that's a different question. I think one, just keep on reminding yourself why you want to do this. And then two, like, I think if you find joy with it, I don't think you'll have a hard time staying in tech
Right.
now. But find a community, because that's always very helpful. And I think we talked earlier and you guys found your community here. And I think that's,
Oh, for sure.
I'm sure that helped immensely.
Yeah. I mean, in a similar vein, we were wondering, have you ever yourself competed in a hackathon?
Yeah, I did a few hackathons in my undergraduate. I did one with the iSchool, like in my freshman or sophomore year. I did BitCamp all 4 years of my undergrad.
Wow.
Yeah, and that was like, I think when BitCamp first like kind of started out. So I did BitCamp for a little bit. I think I went to a few others that were like security or data centric, like in DC. I think it was like Hack DC or something. I've been trying to get into Technica, and then like whenever Technica like falls in the semester, it's like, oh, I'm busy that I'm doing something. So but yeah. That's kind of-
Well, since you started like teaching pretty young and everything, could you talk about like what courses you kind of think like what concepts you love teaching as like a teacher?
I like computer science and I like tech in particular because we're basically trying to create some sort of system that is mechanical to do something that we want to not do ourselves, right? Ultimately, we care about automation, we care about like not having to do work, but of course now that we have AI, it seems we're doing a lot more work than we need to. Like,
Yeah.
why is AI doing like the fun things, like creating like artwork, and we have to do the terrible stuff. But like, I think because of that, it's my reason of wanting to like do tech and do CS. I care a lot about the connection between programming languages, software engineering to what is happening in the machine when you actually do something. So I think classes like 216, which is a very low level class, was very useful. And then to understand why those things work and like to prove like, oh, why can we just say like 2 + 2 is this thing of 4 and it looks like this? I think something like 250 was really helpful as well. And then 330 I think is a good class to bridge that gap between those two.
On that note, actually, kind of as a side note, what is your opinion of vibe coding?
Vibe coding. I just learned of this like last week. Vibe coding is like,
Same.
okay, so my understanding is like,
Yeah.
it's like
I saw
vibe
that
coding, it's like
LinkedIn.
the AI thing. It's like, oh, you just prompt engineer and then eventually get something back and it looks good enough, so you do it. That's vibe coding. That's kind of what I feel about that. I feel like it can have its uses, so I'm not 100% against it, but I think that if you're going to pursue a computer science degree, a theoretical computer science degree in particular, I don't think that would be a good use of your talents.
Yeah, I know.
I think also on a similar note, I'm curious, particularly since we both took or are currently in 330 here, some viewers have as well. What is your favorite CMSC 330 concept to teach students, or your favorite day of class?
Yeah, so I guess like I think we've mentioned 330, we haven't described it. So 330 is the class that I typically teach in computer science. It's called Organization of Programming Languages, which is somewhat correct. But we talk about basically language theory in terms of how it relates to programming languages. So it's kind of like a linguistics for programming this class, and then relating the linguistics to meaning. So my favorite topic in 330 would be when we talk about finite state machines, which is a topic about how you can make a machine to do something. And then later on, we talk about how to make a language to discuss or talk about that that machine that we have. So I like really finite state machines, and then I also like basically the high level aspect of that, which is language calculus, which is a language, not a programming language, so to speak, but a language in itself that you can use to describe what you're doing in the language. So,
We're hinting up on that now, aren't we?
yeah. We're going to do MCALs next week, I would say, so I like that. Yeah.
We kind of touched on this earlier, but we're wondering if you have specific advice for students facing challenges in lower level CMSC classes.
Yeah. Lower level CMSC classes, having gone through the program here, I think there's a lot of things that would be good to put in. It's just difficult to put in because you have to do so much, and then also like do you add another class that changes the whole major design, and that's a whole thing. But I think it depends on the struggle that you're going through, because I've ultimately seen few types of struggles. There's the struggle of I don't fit in here with CS or tech, and it's difficult, and I saw that a lot in 131 or 132, and so a lot of people drop out of the major at that point. And I think if you like CS or you think it's something that you will want to do and continue it, I think it's like important, as we said, like to find a community that will like ultimately say like, hey, we're in this together to help you.
Right.
Because especially in the intro classes, there's people who come from like very prominent high schools that have like a CS program, and then there's those who've never seen a programming at all, and there's such a dynamic between those two that it's difficult for the people at the lower end to be like, do I belong here? It feels like everyone's ahead of me, and that's not true. I think you come to college because you want to learn something. You don't have to know anything beforehand, right? So I think finding a community to help you through that and focusing on that issue is really helpful to your progress as a computer scientist, and especially in tech, which is, I would say, very focused on a particular group of people, right? It's not a very diverse group of students that we see, unfortunately. And then the second thing is that I see, besides just like social struggles of the class, is when you are learning something, right? Especially with computer science, it can be difficult to separate computer science from like how you may have learned any other topic. Because with CS, there is a lot of thinking about why you're doing something or what something happens. Right? When you tell a computer to do something, ultimately you're saying how well can I communicate, and it's ultimately like, oh, my code doesn't work, and it's like the code doesn't work because you didn't communicate well, or you don't know something. And I think there's that disconnect, because typically like you can ask a question on an exam or like a test and you can say like true or false, yes I know that, no I don't. But then when like your answers have impact on something that you can physically play around with or see, like code, it's not the same. You have to think about that. So learning how to learn CS is something that would be something that you need to learn or have someone guide you through. Because a lot of like the educational system is like, here's an exam and that's it, and you're very used to that. But learning how to learn is a very good skill that you should pick up.
Yeah, that's definitely an interesting take. I think I've always heard the idea of like, oh, you're telling the computer what to do, but like kind of flipping it and being like, if you can't tell what the computer to do, like it's a language barrier kind of.
Right. The compiler never lies is one of like the biggest. What was a big breakthrough, for sure. Because there were truly times where I was like, it's lying.
I swear this works.
But yeah. We're also curious, we heard recently that you like Harry Potter. We're wondering what... Sorry?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good fandom.
What is your... What is your...
That's my Patronus.
Yes.
What's your Patronus?
That's a good question. Basically, it's asking what my spirit animal is, right? No, it's
Just about.
Yeah, I don't know. So I've never really like thought about this like too much. So I don't know if I could say like what my spirit animal is, but I could maybe say like I like the platypus because it like makes no sense to anyone, and I'm like okay, it's just this thing that exists that's weird and wild, and it's like, how does this happen? And I'm like, that's how I feel about my life. I'm like, how am I here? I don't know what's happening, but it's working, I guess. So here I am.
Well, with like teaching on one side and like other hobbies and exploring different fandoms, as you said, what would you say is like your favorite hobby to do, or something that you find yourself doing a lot besides like teaching, obviously?
Yeah, well, the issue is I'm addicted to workaholic. I'm a little bit of a workaholic, so there's that issue. But yeah, it's odd because my hobbies very closely aligned with computer science. Right? I like to build things. I like to code things. I like to make programs. I like to do these things. But I guess like outside of CS adjacent, where like I'm building things, I'm tinkering with hardware and stuff like that, I would say I like to game quite a lot. And
Favorite game?
Spend a lot of time on Steam. Favorite game? I don't know if I have a favorite game. I think I played a lot of Terraria. That's I think the game that I have the most amount of hours in. But I'll like sink hours into a game, and I have like a library of 600, and I don't play them all because I'm just moving from one thing to another. It's not good for my wallet, but that's about it.
Forgive me if you've already answered this publicly, but I'm curious about what your least favorite programming language is.
My least favorite programming language.
And why?
Oh, that's important to know.
I don't know if I necessarily have like favorite or unfavorite languages, like in terms of like to use or something. I think from an educational standpoint, some languages are better than others. Like Python is a very good introduction language. So I would love to see it in like 131 and 132 are just kind of the intro classes, lower level classes. But then like as you get higher into your education, like at the 300 and 330, I don't know if Python is necessarily cool because of how much it abstracts away from what we're trying to teach in that class. It's useful from a certain part, right? Because we used to teach Ruby in the class, and then OCaml, and then Rust, which are all programming languages. And then I tried to move it to Python instead of Ruby, and then we did that for a semester, and the following semester we just cut out Python entirely. So like I think putting Python in like in what languages like that is useful, but not for the reason that people like to use those languages, and I think would be a disconnect and why I don't necessarily like those languages from like an educational standpoint. But I don't know if I would say like, oh, this is a terrible language to use. But I would say that there's certain languages I like more. Like I really like language calculus. It's not a programming language, but it's really fun. I did a lot of like esoteric programming languages, which is like weird languages that people came up and just said, here's a language, I'm going to define it, have fun with it. And it's like terrible to like, you never want to write code in it. But I think one of the first esoteric languages that I played around with and really liked was Intercal, which was built as a parody language to C. So like you like say like these things and they make no sense, and then you have to like read the documentation. The documentation itself is like a parody of documentation. So yeah, I'll say that.
And like kind of speaking on other things that we've heard, a little birdie, whispered to us that a certain someone, maybe yourself, may or may not have gotten married on Halloween.
Oh wow, congratulations to that.
So you want to confirm, deny?
Yeah, I got married on Halloween. It was in Old Town Alexandria, right? Virginia, right? And it was very small. Right? It was me, my now wife, then fiance, right? And then just our immediate family members. So there's only like 9 of us there. So very small, very low key. It was cute. It was fun.
Awesome.
Cutie. Yeah.
What did you do for your recent birthday?
What did I do for my recent birthday? I ordered food. I had sushi, which is great. I can never find a good sushi place in DC. So if anyone has like any recommendations for good sushi places in DC, I'll take them into consideration. And then I had cake, and then
Awesome.
Yeah.
Do you have College Park restaurant recommendations?
So I have College Park
Baltimore
recommendations. It's changed since I've like kind of last eaten here. Because now I live in DC, so like I DC more. But instead of College Park, I really like the Pupuseria place that was like over by the firehouse, but then they shut all that down. I really like Crazy Kebab, and they shut that all down.
Right.
Where is everything going? So ultimately, I don't know if anything that I really like close by is still kind of out. I like the boarding group because I like being able to interact with people and like play games and fun. So I think the boarding group's fun. I think the Joke Pit is actually still around.
It is.
Far, it's a distance, but it's still like on Baltimore Avenue, and I really like the Joke Pit. That's a good place to be.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Those are all of the questions we have. We're gonna move on to our last segment.
Oh.
So lastly, we've heard that you've been asking for a Technica t-shirt from us recently, potentially for a while.
Yeah.
And we actually have your shirt.
Oh, wow. Excellent. Excellent. Wow.
Yeah, we also heard your favorite color was purple.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
But we have
Excellent.
alternate color selections as well.
I've been trying to get a technical shirt because I've been trying to like work with them and like I like what you guys do here, right? And we can put that in the video, I guess, me just failing to follow the shirt. But yeah, no, I really like Technica. I've been trying to be a part of it. It's never like fallen on a good like weekend that I could like be a part of. But yeah, I've been asking for a shirt for like I think 3 years now.
Wow!
And,
so today's a very special day.
Yeah, because I have like TAs that are part of Technica, and then every semester I'm like, I want a Technica shirt, and every semester a TA is like, I can get you one, and I
then
but now I have one. So.
This gift is co-signed by our tech co-director Valentina.
She said yes.
Excellent. Valentina's TA of mine.
Yeah.
That's great. She's a good TA.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, I have wonderful TAs. I have a lot of TAs, but I enjoy them.
No, she loves her class. I remember we were doing our like meet on Thursday or whatever, and I was talking about, I'm just working on a project right now, and we had like an icebreaker that we did of just like, what's one thing that you like that other people might not like, and she was like, Helena, shield your ears for a second, 3:30, and I was like, yeah, well, you are a TA there.
Yeah.
So yeah.
No, we have a good cohort of both students and TAs, and we have plenty of students, 800, 900 of them, I think. Close to 900.
What is that like?
What's it like to have so many students? It's jarring. When I was an undergrad and I TA, I would do like the discussion recitations like on Fridays or Tuesday, Thursdays, whatever class, and it's like there's 30 people, and that's like fine or whatever, right? And then I've covered lecture before, but like when I was an undergrad, but it wasn't like I understood the whole extent of it. But now it's like you have classes and there's 300 of them, and then it's like I have no idea if all 300 of you understand what I'm saying. And it's like, hi, how can I get all 300 of you to engage in a way that doesn't make it feel forced or you're just placating me?
Yeah.
So very difficult. And then also because there's such a large class, the way that we have to test people is not ideal. Right? We have to give like paper exams, and I don't like those. Those are not fun. There's, I think, better ways to test knowledge of things that are not tests, but because we have so many students, it has to be somewhat standardized.
Do you guys do like TA bondings?
We do a few things. Right? We have like TA office hours, that is like office hours for TAs, for other TAs. So like some of our senior TAs or head TAs, and sometimes I do some of that, right? We hold an hour like a week that like if other TAs are having issues with things, like we can help them out, especially the new hires and new TAs. So we do that. We have maybe 3 to 4 game nights that we schedule like throughout the semester. So we order food, we bring board games, and then we just do that, and that's a good way to like work with each other and stuff on all of that stuff. Yeah.
I've witnessed some t-shirts as well.
Oh yeah, so we also have the 330 group. We have t-shirts, so we know that we're the best class in the department. So yeah, every semester we have the TAs design the shirts. So they design the shirts, they vote on them, we come up with like a color, and then we get shirts, and then everyone's like, yay, shirts, and everyone seems happy with the shirt. Yeah.
Record class.
Yeah, I mean, one of the best class in the department for me. Yeah, I'll stand by that. You can quote me on that.
All right. Well, I think our time might be up, I guess. But thank you so much for interviewing us and joining us today.
Of course, thank you for having me. Enjoyed it.
No, we really appreciate you being here. We definitely had fun asking you a bunch of questions. We definitely had a lot of fun talking to you today. We had a wide range of questions from like how you got here to where you got married, back to like being the best course. So we reached a lot lot of topics.
Yeah. All the questions that everyone was probably burning to know.
For sure. I was burning.
Yeah.
For sure.
But no, it's good to have you. I mean, all the other questions, I guess, that we asked, you can just put on the Patreon or something. Put on behind paywall. Get funding for tech. People always need more funding. So just do whatever else. Put it behind paywall. Yeah. Thank you for having me.
Should do a final clap.
Thanks for being here.